So this part of the project is a little bit more difficult. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking one of these boxes that you use to put in an electrical box in an existing wall. Because normally when you put in your electrical boxes, you don't have any drywall up, so you put those all up before you put up the drywall. We don't have that option, so we're using these boxes here. I'll put a link down in the description. I got these from Lowe's. You can get them anywhere, any hardware store, but I got mine from Lowe's. I'll put a link down in the description for that as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it up here on the wall. Now I'm going to zoom in on this so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I went ahead and I measured, if you can't, I don't know if you can see it on there, but there's a mark right here on the wall. I measured from the back of my TV over so far to make sure that when I put in this box and have this plug, that there's nothing going to be blocking that box, so that way there's the cords that we plug into there will not interfere with like the mount on the TV or the plug that actually goes into the TV itself. So what you do is you take your box and you line up where you want it, and then you just draw around it. Now don't draw over the top points here and here, because those need to stay on the drywall. But you just draw simple square around the box. And then fill in the empty gaps real quick. Okay, and we've got our box that we're going to be cutting out. Now, normally here you would use a drywall saw. It would be a lot quicker to cut that out, but unfortunately I don't have one. So I'm going to make use of some stuff, and like down in the description, the disclaimer, I don't always do things the way they're supposed to be done. If you're uncomfortable doing anything, hire a professional to do it, whether it's electrical work, drywall work, any type of construction, hire somebody to do it for you. It's just a lot better. And DIYers always say that it's easier to do it yourself. It is, but you have to have some kind of knowledge of what you're doing, or else you could run into some big problems. So what I'm going to be using in a pinch is this Sawzall blade. It's made for wood, but it'll easily go through this drywall, and it's not as quick as a drywall saw would be, but it works. Okay, so we broke a little bit off here like that. Wasn't intentional, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, so as you can see, we've had taken off the faceplate and we've removed this plug and where we can see the exposed wires. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to take this Romex that we have, and we're going to feed it up through the box, through that top hole, and we're going to feed it up to where our hole is up top that we just cut. So we've got our wire fed through. Took a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we finally got it done. So now we need to clip this off, because now it's already through the box. We can always trim off a little bit more if we need to, but we're going to trim it off. Okay, so we got this all trimmed back. Take our wire strippers and knock off a little bit of this. Maybe. Now we'll need a little bit more than that. And now we're going to create our pigtails. So we cut off two little strips earlier, a white one and a black one. We're going to knock off the ends of it like we just did for the wire in the wall. Now again, I am not a professional electrician. This may be right, this may be wrong, but it's how I do it. And just like that, we've got the ends cut off of both sides so we can make our pigtail. And then we've got a couple wire nuts here. So we're going to start with the white wire. We'll just take off the bottom one. I make sure that I do corresponding ones, so we're doing the bottom one right here. We will do the bottom one on the black as well. Take our needle nose pliers, straighten out the wire. Just like what we did when we replaced the plug previously. Now we want to take the new white wire that we have here, put it next to the other one, give it a little bit of a twist. We'll take our pigtail and do the exact same thing. And then we take our wire nut and we twist it on. Now when you twist this on, I twist until I just really can't twist anymore. And then once I get it there, I pull on each individual wire to make sure that they're going to stay in. Then you take your pigtail, you can bend it around. Bend yourself a little hook in it. Remember to bend the hook with the turn of the screw, because that'll help keep it in, locked in there tight. And tighten down your screw. And the white is all back together now. Now we need to do the same thing with the black. And like I said before, I do the corresponding one, so I took the bottom black. Straighten out your wire. Put those two together, take your pigtail, add it to the group. Pull on each one of the wires, make sure they're good and tight. Bend up your new pigtail. Put you a little hook in it. Put it back onto the plug. And just like that, we have now put in a pigtail to the up above box. Don't forget to take your ground wire and wrap it on your other grounds that are already in the box. They don't need a wire nut. You just need to make sure that they're touching each other. And then we need to carefully fold everything back up into that box. And if you have too much slack on your new wires, you can reach up to the other box and just give it a little bit of a pull, and it will pull up some of that slack through the box. Now the lower section's all complete. If you do use your drill like I just did, make sure not to over tighten, because you can zip those in there and it will push the outlet further into the box than what you actually want it to be. So just be mindful of that when you're doing that. We are back up top now. We've got our wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our box. And we're going to feed that up through the hole that we popped earlier, because we want that wire to be into the box before we put the box in. And now the box should just fit right in like so. Perfect. Now you'll take your drill and you will just tighten up these screws, and it will tighten up those flaps on the back. Okay, and there we go. The box is in place. Now all we got to do is strip away some of this wire and hook up our outlet that we actually took off earlier. And now we take our plug from before, because we're going to reuse it. Make sure the ground plug is facing down, and I'm putting them on the bottom. Now all we got to do is fit it into the box. I'm going to feed that down a little bit, because we want that extra wire just in case we ever have to do anything where we got to take this back out. Then we want that extra wire to be there just in case. And again, like before, don't over tighten these. Now it's going into the box a little bit crooked, so just kind of give it a push to push those wires a little bit more even. Okay, now we will put the faceplate on. Give it a couple turns. And there we go. All finished. Again, if you're not comfortable with electrical work, call an electrician. Let them come out and do it. It is very simple work, but if you're not comfortable at all, it can cause fires and other damage that you don't really want to do. Cutting through the wall, you could cut wires, and then it becomes a whole big deal. So if you're not comfortable, make sure you call an electrician. I know I don't always do things the proper way, like using a Sawzall blade instead of a drywall saw, but I'm making do with what I have. If you are not comfortable, again, don't do it. Let an electrician do it.